The PlayStation 5 is right around the corner, which naturally means it's time to rank every single PlayStation 4 exclusive to ever exist. Actually, no, it's not time for that yet. It's time to rank almost every single PlayStation 4 exclusive to ever exist. And that's mostly because I haven't played these games yet, and I wanted to do this video anyway because I figured this would be a fitting end to the PS4 era of this channel. Worry not, I'll make a new video once I have beat these games, so without any further ado, get ready for almost every single PlayStation 4 exclusive ranked. Starting off at number 11, Knack. Memed as the greatest game of all time, it is actually fairly mediocre and probably the worst of the PS4 exclusives I have played. Not to say that it's a bad game by any means, it's just a fun platformer with decent mechanics, an okay story, and if anything, it's just an overall fun time passer. Number 10, Infamous Second Son. So apparently this game got a lot of hate for being different from the previous games in the franchise. But as someone who has never played any other game in the franchise, that had zero effect on me. Second Son is really fun and works perfectly as a standalone game. You don't need to play the previous games to understand what's going on, which makes the whole experience a whole lot better. It's a shame we haven't gotten another game in the series. Number 9, The Order 1886. This is another game that got a ton of flack, but mostly because of the pricing. Many thought that the $60 price tag wasn't worth it because it was too short, and I'm inclined to agree. This game really isn't short by any means though. It's a standard 6-10 hour storyline, but doesn't have anything else to accompany it. There is no multiplayer, no co-op, no DLC even, or anything of the matter. So it definitely does feel overpriced if you paid the full $60. The story and the lore, however, is amazing and the game is super immersive. To this day, it looks beautiful. The game ends on a cliffhanger, so I would love a sequel, but I'm not really sure if we'll ever get one. Number 8, Until Dawn. I don't normally play horror games, but I'm glad I gave this game a chance. The thing is, this isn't really a scary game. It's more of a suspense type with horror elements. I'm sure there's a word for it. Kind of like The Last of Us. You really won't have any sleepless nights over it. But it's absolutely fantastic. The motion capturing tech they use is incredible, and the story is great, and the game did used to look really good once upon a time. You even get to decide who lives. Number 7, Ratchet Clank. This partial reboot of the original Ratchet Clank game is just fun. Like yeah, it looks great and all, and quite frankly, I just don't remember the story one bit. But the game is just fun. Like I don't know how to explain it honestly, it's just vibes, you know, like it's a great break from the types of games that take over the AAA market with their dark storylines and whatever. You know, it's fun. If there was ever a game that described the word fun, this would be it. If you haven't played, you definitely should, especially since the sequel is only a few months away. Number 6, Marvel's SpiderMan. I know what you're thinking. Number 6 for SpiderMan? It's blasphemous. It's outrageous. How can this game be one of the greatest games of a generation and only be number 6 on this list? You see, the answer is in the question itself. This game has everything that is in the genetic makeup of every PlayStation exclusive. It's got great graphics, a fantastic but depressing story, the smoothest mechanics known to man, the smoothest combat known to man, and great character depth and development. It's got all that. The problem is, so do all the other games that come after this. They also have all that. Like, I think Spider-Man PS4 is the best iteration of Spider-Man ever. In books, movies, comics, TVs, doesn't matter. This is the best Spider-Man. The thing holding this game back for me was the side quests and the side content, which, while I liked what it was, there was too much of it, and I think it got repetitive a little too fast. Number 5, Ghost of Tsushima. I am willing to take any and all arguments about Spider-Man being better than Ghost, simply because I didn't know how to order these two games either. They're both actually very similar to each other in terms of world layout and everything. The only thing is that I think the side content in Ghost is way better, and it doesn't get repetitive as fast as it did in SpiderMan, at least for me. Ghost has a lot going for it though, honestly. It hits all the PS exclusive checkboxes, but it does it in a unique way. It's super respectful to ancient Japan and the Mongol invasion of ancient Japan. I mean, I don't think I'm the type of person to say that, but at least I feel like it is super respectful. And it also has a fantastic multiplayer component to it that you definitely should not ignore. So yeah, I highly recommend this game to anyone. If this game won Game of the Year, I'd be okay with it. Number 4, Uncharted 4. I don't care what anyone says. This is the best game in the Uncharted franchise. I think this is the first game that set the standard for PS4 exclusives. The others that came before it were good and great, but this really was the game that kind of set PlayStation up for the success it has had in the recent years. I genuinely have nothing bad to say about Uncharted 4. Honestly, if you put this game at your number 1, I wouldn't care too much. It's really fun, and out of all the games on this list, this one has the most replay value to me. It's free as part of the PS Plus collection coming to the PS5, so if for some reason you haven't played it, you definitely should. Number 3, Horizon Zero Dawn. If you know me, you know how much I love Horizon Zero Dawn. This is probably my favorite game of all time, so it hurts me. It really does to not put this at number 1 or number 2. But I have to do what I have to do. I have to be fair. This is the most original take on the post-apocalyptic genre I have seen in a long time. No zombies or anything, just killer machines and vibes. Aside from the very obvious good-looking graphics, the game's main draw for me is the lore and the mystery surrounding the game. Like, why are there animal-like robots just wandering around? Why are humans in tribes? Who are Aloy's parents? What the hell happened here? Playing the game and slowly unraveling all the mysteries around it and just discovering the lore is an incredible experience. I really don't know of any other game that has done something like this. I will always recommend that people play this game and do the platinum run for the full experience. I cannot wait for the sequel next year. It's going to be great. Number 2, The Last of Us Part 2. Easily the most controversial game to come out in a long time. Easily. The highly anticipated sequel to The Last of Us delivered on every level, except apparently not for some people. The point is that this game was good, and although some of the criticisms were valid, I think most of them fell flat. The Last of Us Part 2 is the most story-driven game I have ever played in my life. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but if you know, you know. You are constantly locked in. Everything you do advances the story forward, and all quote-unquote downtime is basically there to help build the characters' relationships and help develop the characters further. The horror elements are also out of this world. The build up to each infected encounter is insane, and don't even get me started on the boss battles. Fuck that thing in the hospital basement. All my homies hate that thing in the hospital basement. Needless to say, I'm excited for part 3. Number 1, God of War. I think if there's a game that was ever perfect, it would be God of War. Everything it does perfectly. I mean, it doesn't do a lot of new things per se, but every bit of mechanics feels like they put countless hours into perfecting it and timing it, and it just really pays off. The one thing I think it does that none of the games on this list do, to this extent, is that it forces you to become a much better player if you do the platinum run. Like, yeah, you naturally become better at the game as you keep playing, but with most games the skill ceiling is fairly low. You plateau at some point because the game stops becoming too hard. God of War's skill ceiling is in fact stupid high, but you also have to do the platinum run to get it. So it actually rewards you with a trophy and in-game rewards for you to grind it out. There are a bunch of side bosses in this game called Valkyries. They're spread around the map that you have to kill, and they are extremely difficult. As you go from one Valkyrie to another, you will literally be able to feel yourself getting better. There were times where I was steamrolling through enemies in the same areas I had trouble with during the story. When I got to the Valkyrie Queen, I died like 10 times, and I hated every second of it. But then something clicked. Like all my previous experiences with the Valkyries, It all just clicked. You know how in the sports movies with Karate Kid or whatever, where the coaches just make the students do these mundane ass activities like washing cars or windows or whatever, and then during the championship they're like, hey, remember the time you washed a car? It's gonna help you out, and it all magically pays off. Well, that's what happened to me. I've never felt like that with a video game ever, and that's why it's number one for me. Well, that's it. That's my PS exclusive ranking. When I inevitably play and beat all the other PS4 exclusives, I will remake this video. And who knows, maybe things will have changed. Maybe I'll have different games in different areas. Let me know what you guys think of this list in the comments. Would you change anything? As always, thanks for watching everyone, and I will see you in the next one.